Good afternoon and welcome to the 2023 IHF Children's Handball Education Week, where leading experts in the world of handball share their knowledge and experience in 7 days. This is the second webinar. This is the second day of the 2023 IHF Children's Handball Education Week, and we have another very interesting presentation for you all who are attending now. My name is Adrian Costeu. I'm a member of the IHF media team, and I will be your host throughout the next week during all these webinars. And together with our experts, we'll touch interesting parts of creating a good environment for children to thrive in handball from a different perspective, the differences between teaching and coaching, creation of alternative training materials, how to best involve teachers, coaches, and parents in handball, and creating the perfect environment for children to enjoy the sport and become better players and persons. Like in all webinars hosted by the IHF Virtual Academy, we will let you know that these sessions are all in English, but we have translations available. It's very easy. If you're in the Zoom app, then you will have the translation, the globe icon at the bottom of your Zoom app, and you will find translations in French, Spanish, and Arabic. Of course, these are available only for the attendees in the Zoom app, not for the Facebook live stream on the IHF official page. All these sessions fall under the umbrella of the IHF Education Center, which is available at ihfeducation.ihf.info. So you can find all the webinars which are recorded. You can find them there on demand video, and you can watch them again. Okay, so in the second webinar of the 2023 IHF Children's Education Week, we have a guest which will present a very interesting theme in the area, specialization and talent development. And we have with us Claus Dalgaard-Hansen from Denmark, an IHF Commission of Coaching and Methods expert group member. So Claus, the floor is yours. Let's see what you prepared.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation, and nice to be here again. Looking forward to talk about a very interesting subject, and always nice to talk about children because they are the future of our sport. And even though I have worked a lot with older players, then this is very close to my heart, and I'm looking forward to talk to you about these things. This is a quick presentation of me before we start. I am an IHF master coach, and I have been coaching all over Europe. I'm a Dane, and I have been working for the Danish Handball Federation for many years, both as a youth national coach, but also as head of talent development. I have also been a club coach, and since last year, I've become head of talent development on male side in the Norwegian Federation. But this is about children. And this is the agenda for today. I will start talking about children's handball on the children's terms. Further go for some of the dilemmas there are for a children's coach, because there are many. It's a task that has many different objectives. Then I would try to show some examples for good practice with children, especially regarding techniques. And then I would, in the end, try to give you some more inspiration, because I think it's very important that we all over the world try to inspire each other and try to give each other some good examples that can give the children a better practice and hopefully motivate them to stay in our sport as long as possible. I think it's important when we talk about children that we look it from their perspective. Why do children play sports? In Scandinavia, there have been a lot of research in this subject, and there are 3 things for Scandinavian children that are important to get them to stay motivated and to come again for the next practice. And I think this is not only Scandinavian, I think that it's 3 items that is important no matter where you come from. When we ask the Danish children between 9 and 14 years, what is the most important thing, why they go to sports in their spare time, the first thing that pops up is they want to have progress and they want to have the feeling of mastery. Almost 40% of the children asked come to this conclusion. It means that they like to get better, they like to learn something, and of course this is important for us as coaches, as clubs, as federations, to know that it's important to give them progress, to give them quality. And the important thing here is also to recognize that it's not only important for the players and the children that are best at this moment, it's all the children coming into handball that would like to feel progress and would like to have the feeling of mastery, have the feeling of success, that they feel that they succeed with some of the things they try when they come into the hall or when they are playing handball outside. The second thing is to have fun. And I'm very happy that it means a lot for that many children. Fun is many things, and I'm quite sure that all you that are listening right now and all the children, they have different perspectives of what fun is, but it's very important for them to have a chance to laugh, to have a chance to have fun with the things they are doing, having exercises that could make them smile. I believe that the ball is the best toy in the world, so we have a very good chance to give the children fun when they are at handball. And then the third things the children point out is to have friends and to be a part of a team and have relations to the teammates. Handball is a team sport. Handball is a sport where you can't win on your own. You need to behave. You need to be good to your teammates, not only in order to win the games, but I also think that here we touch one of the things that handball is very good at, looking into the big society. Handball is a sport where you can teach some stuff as a child that can make you a better citizen. You have to be punctual. You have to come at the right time. You have to make space for your teammates. You have to acknowledge that other people are not the same as you. They are not motivated by the same things. They are maybe not able to do the same things as you are. So these 3 things, progress, to have fun, and to be a part of a team, is very important for the children. And therefore, I believe it's necessary when we create training sessions, when we look into the work in our clubs or in our schools, that it's important that we touch these 3 things when we try to create handball. Then, of course, handball is also competitive. Handball is also a sport. But is it important for the children to win? We are still talking about 9 to 14 years old. In a Scandinavian context, the children are saying that winning cups, matches, and tournament is the most important thing for only 2.5% of the children. It's much more important for the children to progress, to have fun, to be with their teammates and have relations to them than winning. And I think it's quite important for us adults to bear that in mind, also in the way we behave when we are together with the children at practice, but also in matches, that we might control our feelings more, and that the children's handball is for the children, not for ambitious adults. The next thing here in the beginning, I think is important to ask us is, can we spot talent at an early age? No. Both researchers and my own experience the last 25, 30 years working with some of the best players in the world, also having the privilege to know some of them from the age of 10, 11, 12 until almost 40, says that no, we cannot see that in the children, but we can see some other things at that age. We can see that some of the children have cracked codes in the game that other children haven't yet. And the word yet is very important, because the children are developing in different styles and in different speed. This means that some look very, very good when they are 7, 8, 9 years old, but maybe it's just because that they have cracked some codes that the others haven't yet, but they will do it later, hopefully. We can also see that some of the children dare to use their body more, and in a sport with contact like handball is, this is also important in order to have success. Excuse me. We can also see in these age groups that some children are more ready for practice and training than others. Some, as I meet them in the hall, 7, 8 years old, they are focused, they can concentrate, they are able to adapt with the instructions. Other children, they just run in the hall or run around, and they are not ready for training, but this doesn't mean that some of them are more talented than others. These 3 things can be connected to physical and cognitive development. It does not predict a future career. So we need to give all the children the same opportunities to become good handball players and to stay in the sport as long as they want to. Now I will go in and look into some of the dilemmas I see when you are coaching children. Because there are many, and I think everybody who has been a coach for children, they have been sitting like this guy, wondering, what shall I do next time? Why didn't the practice go well today? Why am I not able to keep the children focused? And so on. I have picked some issues out. There are definitely more, and maybe you have some questions for me afterwards with other dilemmas. You are certainly welcome. . How much variation should there be in practice? when I make trainer courses in Norway or in Denmark or other places, this is one of the most common questions. How much variation should there be? Because I think that a lot of coaches, especially parents, starting to be children coaches, maybe they don't have that much experience, and they are afraid that they are not able to have exercises enough to keep them motivated. In my opinion, the children need repetition in order to feel mastery. We already saw that the feeling of mastery is very important for the children in order to stay in sport. And if they need repetition and so on, I don't think it's that important to have new exercises every time. If you see an exercise make the children smile, they understand it, they progress in that exercise, then continue working with that exercise. The feeling of mastery comes with repetition. If you should be able to feel on your own body that you are better at throwing the ball, better at stealing the ball, then you need to try it over and over again. In my opinion, I or others as a coach could be bored by the same exercise. I can feel it on my own when I use the same exercise over and over again, but it's not the children. They love and they need in these age categories recognizability. That was a hard word to pronounce. They need and they like to see the same again and again. So don't be afraid to take the same exercise once more. If the children like it, you should like it too. How long should we practice? In my opinion, when the children are 7 and 8 years old, 45 minutes is enough. They don't need more. When they are under 9 and under 10, 1 hour is fine. When they become a little older, you can make the practice a little longer. And so on, you progress for the time. But my experience is that it's very important that the practices don't get too long, because it is very hard for children to stay focused for a long time. And if they stay focused, they think it's fun and they progress. If they are not able to keep the concentration for all the time in the practice, both the children and you as a coach risk to end the session in a bad way, because the children are not focused, they make more mistakes, they are not able to all listen to what you are saying to them, and then it would be bad. So in my opinion, shorter practices with high intensity. And then furthermore, in my opinion, very important that the most complex things are quite early in the practice. If you like to play a match, and as you see here, the players are 11, 12 years old, I would never play the last 15 minutes. I would play for, let's say, minute 30 to minute 45, while they are still focused and concentrated, while they are still having more energy on their hard disk. It's because the most complex thing in these age categories are playing matches. They have to deal with the rules. They have to deal with their teammates. They have to deal with the opponents, and therefore playing matches is very hard for them. But in a Scandinavian context, we have a tradition that we practice, and in the end, we play matches. I think that's totally wrong in these age categories. I think if we want to play match, do it early in the session, and then in the end of the session, you might run fast breaks or something else that is easier for them to adapt to, and then they will go from the practice with a smile on their face and not with a feeling of, oh, I ruined the match the last 10 minutes. I also meet a lot of coaches who say, I need more time with my players. Yes, I understand, but children are not able to stay focused for a longer time. So I think it's better to give more court time to another team. What should we practice? Even yesterday, I got an email from a coach saying, I'm working with under 12 girls. What should we practice? I have been practicing seniors for the last decade, he said. So what should I do now? And I think it's a very relevant question, especially when you come from senior handball and you go to children's handball, because it's not the same thing. And we need to build some cornerstones in our handball house before we can do all the nice complex stuff later on. And we need, as it mentioned here, use the golden age for motor skills. This means that children in the age of 8, 9 up until 12, 13 years old, they are in a period of their life where it's very easy for them to copy skills. So it means if they see a new move, a new feint, then it's quite easy for them to copy it. It's like an open window for individual skills they have these years. And we need to use it, because when they become teenagers, this window is slowly closing. And I think a lot of you, like I have, seen players becoming 14, 15, 16. And if they don't have their tools on their basis, on their technique, then it's very hard to learn it when you are becoming older. Spend time teaching them to steal the ball from the opponent in these age groups. Very good for the perception of the game and the understanding of the game, to get the timing, not only for that specific thing, but it definitely have benefits in other parts of the game too. Introduce the right passing technique in different situations. It's so important to have fun with handball, that you are able to pass and catch the ball the right way, because it means that you can do a lot of technical stuff. And it also means that you can play the game in a higher speed, which is very nice, not only for the players, but often also for the spectators. Experiment with a range of different shots from different angles. Present a range of different moves going one against one. As you can see, I'm using words as introduce, experiment, and present. I do that because I think it's very important that the players find their own way into this stuff. I think there is a almost a right passing technique with high arm, the elbow up onto the shoulder. But when it comes to shot techniques, moves one against one, I think some of the most spectacular players are the ones who have developed their own style and their own technique. So I think it's important that we don't put them into the same box and try to teach them the same things. Some of them are maybe 130, some of them 170. So of course they are in different areas of their matureness. So we need to give them the chance to work on their own stuff. Then I think it's quite important that the ball is a part of the practice from the first to the last minute. And it's also important for me that we teach individual skills, not the collective play. These are the years of teaching individual skills that can make them better into the collective play when they become older. But the collective play can wait. Teaching individual skills cannot. What ball do we practice with? I know that somewhere it can be hard to have enough handballs and good handballs. So then what do we do? I think it's important that we start with the single player, not with the team. When I say that, I mean that we have to go back and remember what is motivating the players. That's progress. That's the feeling of mastery. Give them a ball that can give them a chance to feel mastery. And that is often a smaller ball. It's important that they have a ball that they can have a good grip on so they can try the different stuff. I see a lot of players having too big a ball. They go like this, the elbow goes down. They are not learning the right technique. Maybe some of them should go 1 or 2 sizes down. Maybe if you have the chance and have different kind of handballs, then you can have a practice with 3 or 4 different types of balls, different sizes of balls. It's so important for their feeling of mastery that they have a ball that they can have a good grip on in order to learn the right technique. But what about the matches then? Is of course the next questions. What do we do there if they are not normally using that ball? I see the issue, but I still think that we need to be aware of where is the biggest arena for development. In my point of view, it's practice. It's not the matches. The matches are fun. The matches are fun, and they are also a way to see where have we come, what are we good at, what should we go home and practice. But we have more practice than we have matches. So of course, the biggest arena for development are the training sessions. And if they have a ball in the training sessions that gives them mastery, then it's very good. And that's what we can do. We cannot decide what ball we are playing with in the matches, even though it could be nice for the players. Is it all right to separate, the children in different levels? That is also a common question, especially when you have a lot of children, you have a large group. Some of them are early matured, some of them are later matured, some of them have played handball for maybe 5-6 years, some of them have just started. This is one of the crucial questions and a dilemma for a lot of coaches. How do I make a good practice for all these children? From my perspective, it is all right to separate the children in different levels in practice. If, and I really say if, all the children have the same opportunities to practice and develop. This means that if there are practice twice a week, every child in that age category has the opportunity to practice twice a week. It's not when they are 11 that some are able to attend 3 practices and some only 2 practices, because then we are starting with selection, and that's way too early. We can't see who will become the best. We can only see who are the best right now. So every child should have the same opportunities. I also believe it's very important that the children are together when the practice starts and when it ends. This means that no matter how good the players, the children are, then they should be able to go to handball together. They warm up together, they go in the locker room together, and they feel that they can be together with their teammates. Then, in the middle of the practice, I think it's all right to divide them. Maybe some need to work on short passes, some on longer passes. Some need to work 1 against 1. Some are ready to work 3 against 3. Then I think in order to motivate all the players and in order to motivate and let them feel mastery, then we need to divide it. And then I think it's very important, if we separate them in different levels, that they meet the same coaches. I have way too many times seen children 10, 11 years old being divided in a hall. Some go one end with a very experienced coach. Some goes in the other end with a not so experienced coach. And here again, selection starts. So if all the children meets the most experienced coach and can get feedback from her or him, if the children are together when the practice starts and ends, and if they have the same opportunities to go to practice, I think it's all right to separate the children in different levels. When we go further into this about attack, then some of the dilemmas is, how should we start when the collective game are arriving? Should it be when they are 11, 12, 13 years old, or how should we do it? And in what way? For me, in attack, this is the basic things. We have to teach them to run into the ball. All attack in handball starts with a player running, not with a player passing. When a player runs, he tells the teammate, I want the ball, and then we can pass it. The next thing is running into spaces. It is the spaces between the defenders that are interesting, not the defender. And then also starting to teach them to open spaces for others. A lot of children, also adults, who are right-handed, they run to the right and pass the ball, and they are creating a smaller space for the teammate who gets the ball. We need to teach them to go to the left and pass to the right, or go to the right and pass to the left, in order to give a better opportunity for the teammate receiving the ball. This is basic for me, and these things is the beginning of the practice when we talk about development in attack. Next step for me could be changing position. A lot of the moves in handball have different names in different countries, but I think that the transition of players when the left back plays it to the left wing and the playmaker goes around getting the ball in speed, and the left back goes into the middle receiving the ball in speed. This is some of the first moves I think that we should teach them, because it still teaches them to run into the ball, to move into the spaces, and to open spaces for the next one. Next thing, when they are 13, 14 maybe, if they are ready, if they have their basis, then you can start with the French movement or the Yuge movement. You can play Vesprem. These things you can start with. Still, in order to make them run into the ball, run into the space, and create space for each other, and start being able to pass the ball under physical pressure. And from there, you could start crossing. I see way too many children teams trying to make crosses, but they are not making crosses, they are just changing position. Crossing in the right way is, in my opinion, very, very hard. And I think I have never seen players at 14, 15 years old doing a right cross where they are really going towards the goal, taking the defender out of his position. One of the other players come quite late and they could run into the space that has just been created. Crossing is very difficult. Excuse me. And I think we should wait. This is the priority. And I think even when you are working on number 2, 3, and 4, go back to number 1. That is the basis. Physical training. I won't use that much time about that, but I think it should be an integrated part of the practice from around 11 years old, and motor skills from the beginning when they are younger. Handball is very complex. You really need to have a good balance, good movements. So we need to have a body that is very fast in every direction, that is able to change direction, jump, all these things. And you can easily start using your own body weight, not only to become stronger, but I think the most important thing about physical training is to give them good manners, but also to prevent injuries. The spaces in handball are slowly getting smaller and smaller when the players are getting older and stronger and bigger. So we can't prevent physical contact, but we can do everything we can in order to prevent injuries if we work with physical training when they are from around under 11. Running is, for me, not that important. Running outside, you can do it to give them good manners, but I think it's much more important and much more fun for the children too, to have a practice with intensity and fast breaks, and then they also run the way we need to run when we play handball. And weightlifting, as I see it, And as I have been working in both Denmark and Norway, started up from under 15, if they are ready for it. As I mentioned here, it needs to be individual and supervised. They shouldn't go on their own, also to prevent injuries, but the individual stuff is very important, because when a boy is 15 years old, he could be matured as he was 18 years old or 12 years old. So of course, some of them can start earlier and some of them should wait, and they definitely shouldn't have the same program. Another dilemma that I often meet from the youth or the children's coaches is, what should be my role as a coach in the matches? I often use the metaphor from the GPS that we can have in our cars. Because when I need to go to a new place, I often put on the GPS, and then it shows me the way to the destination. The problem is that when I turn on the GPS, I lock down my brain, because next time I should go the same place, I can't remember how I went there, so I have to turn on the GPS again. It's a little the same with children's handball. We should turn off the GPS. We should let the children play the game in order to be able to find the right direction on the court next time. I know it's difficult, because we as coaches could easily guide them more, and we can easily show them the right way. But if we should have an attractive game, and if we should have better handball players, and if we in the end should have more handball coaches, we need to have players that are able to adapt to the game, understand and think the game on their own. They should not be robots. We should not play chess with them. And I both get a little sad and maybe also a little angry when I'm children handball, see the coaches playing chess with the players, the team getting the ball, the playmaker having the ball, going to attack, and the coach tells him what they are going to play the next time. Of course, we should help the players, but we need to guide and help the players that need it, and that's the new players. That's the not so experienced players. The best players, they are able to understand the game on their own. We could guide them, we could help them, but only a little. I truly believe that the best thinking and creative handball players comes out of coaches who haven't been playing chess with them when they were young. Specialization in handball. It is widely proven that a broad range of sports is good for the children, also if they have ambitions. Luckily, we have different ways in children's sports from one continent to the other, and there is nothing we can say this is the right thing. We also need to look into our culture. But I think it's important in a complex sport like handball that the players are able to go to other sports. I can see when I look at the best Danish handball players from above, let's say 30 years now, the generation that has been very successful the last 10 years, a lot of them, they played handball from a very young age, 5, 6, 7, most of them, but they were not specialization in handball before 14, 15, some 13 years old. Up until that age, they were playing football, they could be playing badminton, they could be going for swimming or some other stuff. And we also have players as Hans Lindberg in Füchse Berlin, who only started when he was 14 years old. Rasmus Lauge, now back in Denmark in his youth club, started when he was 11. So there are many paths into handball. Unilateral practice might give good results in the beginning, but in the long run, the risk of injuries and lack of motivation is increasing. This is not something I made up. This is what the scientists have proven for a lot of years. Of course, if you go into handball early and you practice more than the other teams, then you will have good results. But it's not because you are bigger talent, it's just that your training age is higher. But we have seen in Scandinavia that the risk of injuries, we have seen many injuries of very promising players way too early. And we have also seen players dropping out of handball because they were focusing only on handball too early. So I think in a sport where a lot of the best players are around 30 or even older, we have a lot of time. We should have the time to create an environment around the children where there are space for other things than handball. I think that could be very good for us. And then we should be very much aware to pick up players at a later age from, for example, football, where they are going in with a higher amount of practice early, and where some of them also lack motivation and needs to find a new sport when they are 14, 15, 16 years old. This could be handball. It's a great sport. Specialization on position. In my opinion, children are not line player, goalkeeper, or left back. They are all handball players. I understand and I hear the children telling me that I'm the goalkeeper and I'm the line player. But I think it's so important that they are handball players, as long as we can say they are handball players, because it's so important that they have a wide range of competences that they can put into the team. And before they are grown up, we can't say what would be the best position for them. And I've seen a lot of line players becoming very good at a late age, being former left backs. It's almost a tradition in Danish male handball that the best line players are former backcourt players. So we need to give them a second chance. Also, some of the best goalkeepers have not been goalkeepers all the time. They have a chance to play in the field and go to the goal. And I think it gives them a good perception of the game and a good perception also of what is the difficult shot in this angle, what is the easy shot in this angle. If you have been on the goal all the time, you don't know that. And it's the same for the line player. If you have always been a line player, you can't go into the mind of a backcourt player knowing that now he needs a block. Now she needs the move under number 2 defender. You need to have both perspectives in order to create a very good perception of the game. So time will show where they will end up. This was some of the dilemmas. Definitely not all of them. It's a complex task to work with children, but it's also fantastic. Now I will try a few examples from the Danish tradition, working with children, some small videos, and I will try to tell you why we are working like that in Denmark and in Norway, in Scandinavia, I think I can say, and hopefully you can get inspired. This is the first one. I take it once more. Whoop. The important thing here is that these children are around 10 years old, and we are starting to make them look towards the goal, to be a threat towards the goal, and trying to make them look at the goal and open in their upper body, getting the elbow up towards just like the shoulder, and daring to look at the goal, passing to their teammate, because this is a very important pass when they get older. If you are looking at your teammate when you are passing, when you get adultness, the good defender will know what you will do and they will steal the ball. You need to be a threat. The defense should believe that you will do something on your own in order to be a good teammate and give them a good pass. Let's see let's see the next one. Yeah, here it is. This is an exercise for shooting, and their idea is both that they should run before they get the ball. It is important that they get the idea to get the ball in a high speed so they can take the speed from the running into their shot. But also when they get a little older than here, that the shorter time they have the ball, then they have a better chance to shoot in the spaces between the defenders. Run into the ball, first passing, running, shooting, and also trying to get the players to have a lot of actions. Here it is again. Also important that when they are changing positions, so they pass from both sides and they shoot from both sides. We don't know where they will end up. This is the next exercise. 1 against 1. And as you can see, you can both have a defense and an offense perspective here, but the defense has to move a little before they go up to the attacking player, just like we do in a match, trying to get them away from 6 meters. So if you lose, then you can have help from somebody else. And here you also see one of the other things. There could be a huge physical difference between the players. And we have to deal with that many, many times when we are working with the children. If the defense players are bigger than the attacker, then I often give the defense player a ball in the hand. So they are a little handicapped, you could say, so that it's easier for the attacking players to feel mastery. If the attacking players are stronger, as here, then I often put 2 defenders in, so it's harder for them to have success. Yes, now it becomes a little more complex. Here we work first 2 against 1, trying to make the right decision, but also trying to work wide. So it's important when you look at this exercise that you see all the cones. There are 2 in the middle and there are two outside, and the 2 outside, one of them between the legs of a quite famous handball player who is giving a lot back to children, is where they have to go around to be able to go wide. Otherwise, children are playing on a very small area, and then it's harder to go into a space. Let's go. The pass comes from the coach, forcing them to go wide, and then they are 2 against 1. Go wide, passing, look for his own chance, and then go. Here we can do it in different ways too. Here it's 2 against 1, so that there is a chance to succeed. But I think the most important thing here is that they can see the spaces and they understand that they have to go towards a space to attract the defender. And if the defender doesn't come, they can come on their own. And when the defender comes, they can pass to the other, who hopefully will run into the ball. And as you can see here, in a Danish handball culture, children around 10 years old, it is very normal at this point that they pick up the ball fast, go up with their arm, and keep all possibilities open. When they become older, if they have the arm here, they can pass to their shooting arm side, to the first one and to the next one, but it's also easier to turn in the body and pass the other side. If the ball goes down, it's harder to be a threat towards the defense, and you are showing the defense that I won't shoot, and then they can go up and steal the ball. And furthermore, when I take the ball down here, I'm only able to pass to the closest of my teammates. And clever defense players, they will know that. Here is the same principle, but now we are 3 against 2. It's still that they need to go wide in the beginning, trying to attract one from the defense. And the idea is that the attacking player with the ball is looking, what are the defenders doing? If the defender is going up, then I will pass. If he's not coming, then I will continue. So all the choosing in attack is about what are the defense doing, and when the defense have chosen, then the attacking player will choose in the perfect situation. Here you can see some of the issues from earlier, if they are creating spaces or they are closing spaces. But they are young and they are quite good compared to their age. We will have it once more, I hope. Yeah, comes here. But look at the players, some of them running to the right, passing to the right, closing spaces. So important to teach them to go to the left and pass to the right, especially in the last years where defender number 2 and number 5 is going up, trying to stop the playmaker. It's become even more crucial to teach them to go wide than it has been before. This was just a few examples that I hope could inspire and also show some of the stuff that I have been talking about for the last hour. The importance of working with individual skills, the importance of passing, the importance of running into the spaces, being able to pass to the next one. I've been talking a lot about attack, and it's not a coincidence. I think some of the things that can make handball attractive for the children is to have the ball, is to be able to make goals. There are many goals in handball. Of course, we also need to teach them defense, but I don't think it has to be 50-50 when they are 10, 12, 13 years old. Then it's all right for me, in my opinion, to have more practice in attack than in defense. Defense can come later on, but I think attack is having some of the special effects of handball that can attract them to our sport. Now I will show you some websites that can give you more inspiration, I hope. The first one is Norwegian, and it's called Øvelsesbanken. There is a lot of exercises there, and they are put into age categories. And even though you are not brilliant in the Norwegian language, then you have a fair chance to go around in there and find exercises that could match your team and your players. The next one is from the Danish Handball Federation, where it's also put up in different age categories and different themes for each category. And you will also be able to see that there are different ways of doing things in Scandinavian handball. Luckily enough, it would be boring if we all did the same stuff. The last site I would like to promote, it could be others, is Learn Handball, made from the former Norwegian handball star Bjarne Myrhold. There is a lot of exercises there too. And compared to the others, this is translated. So you could find it in English, you can find it in French, and maybe also in Spanish. I get a little unsure while I'm saying this, but these 3 websites are very good and inspiring for all children handball coaches. I'm sure. I have to admit that I steal a lot from there, and that's also a point of being a handball coach, stealing everything you can if it suits where your players are right now. That's what I had. I hope and I believe that this subject could give opportunities to have questions, because it's a very complex theme, and hopefully there are a lot of children coaches out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Claus. Yes, there are a few hundreds actually in this presentation, and of course we have some questions. Of course, some of them have been answered by you in your presentation.
Yeah.
But also we have some questions that will need some explaining. So first of all, I will try to take it chronologically. You talked about the training time for children's handball. In terms of time, should under 14, and that was the question, but also for other age categories, girls have the same time of training as boys?
Yes, I think so. But I think if there should be a change between, I think the girls, in my opinion, can stay focused for a longer time in general when they are 10, 12 years old, that boys can. Girls are generally earlier matured than boys, and I think sometimes the girls are more disciplined than the boys. So if you should practice a little longer, I think I would be able to do it with the girls and not with the boys. And it's not saying that one sex is better than the other. It's just saying that we are different.
Thank you for your answer. One other question is, how is a child affected by interference from the parents when the coach is handing instructions and the parents are interfering, telling the children do other things?
This is a big issue, and I think it's an issue that has been increasing the last years. Definitely in the part of the world where I am living. When I started working as a coach 30 years ago with children in Denmark, the parents were happy that I wanted to use my spare time giving the children some good experiences. Now I see that a lot of children coaches, they are under pressure because the demands from the parents are getting bigger and bigger. And I think the worst thing that can happen is when the parents and the coaches are telling two different things, because the child loves their parents and the child respects the coach. So we are putting the children in a very, very bad situation when we are going in two different directions. And most of the time, I say the coach is better in handball than the parents. So I think in general that the parents should be supportive and be happy that there are adults who want to give them good experiences in handball. but sometimes I have seen and I have given the advice to children coaches to step back, because the only loser will be the child. And so it's a very good and very relevant topic. But I think, yeah, the loser is the child, and we need as coaches to talk to the parents and try to explain to them what it means for the child if they are telling them something else that we are as coaches, because they get confused. The children, of course, they do, so they won't develop. And of course, the parents want their child to develop and to become better.
One other question is, of course, you have been a coach. You told us that in the start of the presentation. How can you help a child control his emotions or her emotions after a loss?
I think that's quite easy, because the children are a mirror of the coach. So if the coach is talking a lot about winning and the importance of winning, then the emotions of the child losing will become much harder, and the emotions will be much bigger. If the coach is talking about development, is talking about practice, is talking about progress, is talking about the match being the arena where we can see where have we come, then it's quite rare to see desperate children after losing a game. So it's cultural leadership from the coaches. The children are a mirror of how we are behaving. I'm sorry to say.
If a player starts handball at 15 or 16 years old without having played any sport, is there a chance he or she can become a handball player in the future?
I haven't seen some from that age becoming professional. I have seen players becoming professional starting at 15, 16, 17 years old, coming from other sports. I even think that I've heard that Ivano Balic came from basketball when he was 17 years old. And I think we can say that he became quite good. But I think if they haven't played other sports, then it's very hard task to become very good, because you haven't been into that motorical skill period, the golden age, where you have adapted all these different moves. But you can have these moves from other sports, especially team sports with the ball, and then you can start quite late. But I have to mention that for me, it's not the only way to get professional. Start when you are 18 and have a good life with handball. Play on the level that you are, become a coach, become a referee. So it's important that we are not only talking about becoming professional handball players. It's a very limited group of handball people.
We had this question more times, so I will address it to you because you've said it in the presentation. What is the appropriate age for players to start weightlifting? And why is that the appropriate age?
As I mentioned, you can't put in my opinion, not put a specific age, because it depends on how much physical training you have done before and how far you are in your matureness going from a child to an adult. I think some can start when they are 13 years old. Maybe some should wait till they are 16, 17 years old. But in the research done in Scandinavia the last years, the researchers are saying that you can't do something wrong if you start earlier with weightlifting, if the body is ready for it. Earlier on, some decades ago, there was the idea that maybe you wouldn't grow anymore and these things, and the researchers find out that this is not true. So if the body is ready for weightlifting, you have made a lot of physical training with your own body weight, you have the right technique, you can start when you are 13, 14 years old. But it's individual, and it's very important to point out that it's individual.
There are also many questions about the training of attack and defense in children's handball. Shall the coaches concentrate more on attack because the contact is not important basically in children's handball, right?
Yeah, I think as I mentioned that it's all right when they are children to work more on the basic attacking technique, passing, receiving, running into the ball, having different shot techniques, different techniques going one against one. I think that should fill a lot, and then defense can come later. Also, when they are more aware of their own body, and it's more normal for them to have physical contact. So I think it's all right to use more time in attack and with technique when they are at this age. Defense can come later on.
What is the best way to start developing children who have problems with basic skills such as coordination, following the ball, or running? How can you transform them into better players, or how can you teach them the sport and also to enjoy it, of course, because if they can't, if they see they can't do it, it's difficult for them.
Yeah, I think gymnastics is very, very important. So if you have players that have a hard time with motorics and balance and coordination, then I think in your warm-up you need to have gymnastics in there so that they learn moves and learn their body and a better balance, because it's so important for handball. And then I also think in order to keep them in the sport, even though they have a hard time becoming the best, I think if they have good teammates, if they have a good spirit in the team, if it's fun to come there, if it's nice to be with the others and share handball in that matter, then it doesn't matter how good you are. It matters to be around other people that also like to play handball and to use that to work out and to have sweat on the forehead. So there are many ways.
One other question is if children's handball, if developing children's handball can also develop handball, the senior team in the future, like the base of the pyramid, you know, is it true?
Can you take that once more? I'm not sure.
So if the children's handball can develop the senior handball in the future, like the base of the pyramid, is it true?
Yes, I think so. I definitely think that children's handball is the basis, but I also think that we should be aware of not starting too early, because handball is very complex. And if the parents think that now we have in television seen senior handball, and now we want our children to play handball, and they are 7, 8, 9 years old, and they see what they are capable of, then of course they will be they will think, oh, there's a huge gap between the children's handball and senior handball. So it's very important that the parents understand that this is only the beginning, because handball is very complex and it's very hard for children in 7, 8 years to run and pass and receive the ball. So the speed and the intensity and all the fine movements you see when they are grown up, it's important that the parents don't expect to see that with children.
Claus, thank you very much for your presentation and of course for your answers. Also, we would like to thank all the attendees today, and we will expect you tomorrow to hear at 13 CEST with the webinar Methodical Development of Defensive Systems presented by Ignacio Torrescusa. It's been a little bit of change, and we'll see the other webinar presented by Daniel Sanchez Neves on Sunday. Thank you very much for attending. See you tomorrow, the 2023 IHF Code Children's Education Week. Goodbye.